Hey everyone, I weighed myself this morning and I am currently 181.4 pounds. I believe that is near or the exact same weight I was yesterday. Interesting. Well, I guess consistency is better than blowing up, but hopefully tomorrow we'll look at it being down much lower. I ate quite a buffet yesterday. From the morning to night, let's see what we ate. I remember I'll just work backwards because I genuinely am having a hard time remembering my breakfast. But for dinner, I had a burger with keto-friendly buns from Nature Zone. It had lettuce, tomato, cheese on it, and I had that with some steamed broccoli as the replacement for what would have been the fries, paired with a delicious A&W Zero Sugar soda. I also had, if I'm remembering correctly, chicharrones in the afternoon. Those were very good. And after the chicharrones, I had half of a whole chicken, believe it or not. Pretty crazy. Literally, a rotisserie chicken split in half. My mom had one half, I had the other half. For breakfast, I'm pretty sure I already said what I had, which was steamed broccoli with the cheese sauce on top. And that is what I ate. I also had some coffee, a macchiato with lower carb filtered milk and allulose. And I almost forgot to mention this. I also had the last of the keto approved Rebel ice cream, which included chocolate and peanut butter ice cream in a pint. I had one serving the day before and I finished the rest yesterday. And the other one I had was a ice cream bar, Rebel ice cream bar, which was double chocolate flavored. That's what I ate yesterday. I did go for a half-hour walk with my mom around the neighborhood, and that was quite nice. I'm thinking if I really want to start burning those calories, I need to really start running more. Doing a good jog every day would be ideal, like half an hour. All right, so now that we have the health update under the belt, let's go ahead and summarize the most interesting things that happened yesterday. So overall, yesterday was extremely chill, relaxed, and very nice, I would say. In the morning, I decided to watch TV and I found a really fun YouTube video that was basically a rip of early 2000s Cartoon Network. And when I say that, I mean Evil Con Carne, Courage the Cowardly Dog. It even had those old corny early 2000s commercial breaks that played in between episodes. And I gotta be honest, I mean, normally people hate commercials. I hate having to wad through all that nonsense. But there was something oddly nostalgic and like tingly or fascinating watching these old cartoons the way they were originally watched back then. It really is an historic artifact that brought me a sense of joy because I think I was probably the last batch of kids before like TV kind of became old hat and streaming became number one, where we were able to experience TV in its golden age, which is to say was just extremely diversified content. The bumpers that played before and after episodes really had a unique feel and atmosphere that made you feel like you were exploring this universe that was Cartoon Network Studios with these characters hanging around in this single town. It was just something special that I haven't seen replicated. I feel like after 2004 or 5, Cartoon Network just became extremely corporate. Like there was sort of this, homey feel to it that made it just something special, like urban, like a suburban feel, I guess. I don't know what to say other than I really loved it, and I really wish that they just continued with that aesthetic. It made exploring that channel so much fun. And the fact that someone was able to rip those, like, channel streams and then put them on YouTube in their entirety was cool to see. I loved seeing. It was like a time machine. It was like clicking the TV remote and getting a broadcast signal from 2003, because you had to pay for that stuff back in those days in order to watch it. And so the fact you could watch it for free on YouTube in 2025, a sort of a fun exploration of what entertainment was like back when I was 4 years old, was something special. And I hope that video stays on YouTube and doesn't get copyright taken down. But again, it's got stuff that's on streaming services, and I'm sure Warner Brothers wouldn't like seeing that stuff for free being watched, so they'd probably want to commission a takedown. But I don't know. I probably should download it before it's no longer viewable, so I have that as a nice little core memory. But that's funny to say core memory. Maybe not core memory, but just a fun little memento, I guess you could say. All right, I got super passionate about that. Sorry, but I just love talking about that old stuff because that's one of the reasons why I was so into entertainment and animation and all that. It was just the presentation, it was the vibe, it was the feeling that you were really exploring this new world that hadn't been explored before, and it really took its time to allow you to get used to what was going on so you could feel like you were really connected with what was happening. And I mean, I don't really watch a whole lot of entertainment now. Most of my time these days is spent watching just YouTube videos or people commenting about things. I haven't really watched a full fat TV show probably in about a year, I'd say. Maybe I should get on that because, you know, I can't say what I don't know. So who knows? Maybe things are on the up and up right now and I just am misinformed. Again, you don't know what you don't know, so I can't say anything about that. But always fun to re-experience memory lane. Okay, let's jump away from that now. And after I was done watching that, I decided to go and call about my car's check engine light turning on. And apparently it was like an evap system. So I was able to schedule the car mechanic to come take a look of my car in the morning tomorrow, which is today. And I was able to do that. I dropped my car off. It's currently being inspected, and hopefully a solution can be found. Hopefully not too expensive. Well, after that, I remember my mom arrived with groceries, and she needed my help getting them out. So I did just that. And when we got everything out, we decided we would have that chicken breast, or just that whole rotisserie chicken. I remember describing how I really enjoy the fact that the store we shop at bags their rotisserie chickens in a little box with a plastic container over it. My opinion, I think that keeps it more fresh. I don't know. I just don't like the way some grocery stores do it where they put the chicken in just a baggie. Something about it just doesn't sit right with me. The chicken just tastes kind of off, and I'm not a fan of that way of doing it. But when it's in a box, I'm a huge fan because for whatever reason, I just think it tastes fine or really good. And of course, we're on a low carb diet, so we ate the chicken without anything else other than some condiments, which included a bit of avocado oil, Primal Kitchen mayonnaise, and some mustard mixed together. I think I overdid it on the mayonnaise. I don't like it when something tastes too mayonnaisey. I like it when when the sharpness of the mustard is more prevalent in my condiment mixes. Well, when we got our TV dinners ready, we went outside and we watched a new episode of The Y-Files. I gotta be honest, this Y-Files episode was quite underwhelming to me. And the reason why mostly has to do with the fact that it was kind of uneventful, if I'm being honest. Like, it was basically about like these guys who were exploring these secret caverns and found this long forgotten technology from another civilization, and it turns out you could only connect to it using your consciousness and things like that. And then it ultimately just ended up being a huge scam by some con artists to trick people into parting their money from him so he could make a profit off of a fantastical story. I don't have a problem if you're a fan of writing fictional tales and then building a fan base around them and making money off of that. What I do have a problem with is being dishonest about whether what you're doing is true or not and tricking a bunch of people into thinking it's real. That's a big no-no for me because I can't trust you anymore, and you've lost my respect for not being able to see any validity to the story you're trying to tell. This isn't for the host of the Y-Files. He was just telling the story, and the story from the guy who originated the story is who I'm talking about. very shameful. But hey, I don't know. It seemed like he made a good business out of it. So maybe he knows more about business than I do, I guess. Pretty underwhelming episode of him, being honest. One of those they lied and made money off of it, but people still believe it kind of deals. Well, after that, we decided it would be a good idea to do some catnapping, so I decided to go in my room and rest a bit. I was feeling pretty tired and sleepy. And then when I woke up, it was time to drive to the hospital to see our family friend who needs oxygen in order to survive right now. So they're getting that breathing in with the oxygen tank. And they wanted us to go and get the car they were driving in. I was at the hospital they were last at and drive that over to the hospital they were currently at. So as soon as they were done being at the hospital, they could go out and drive back without needing a drive back to the other hospital. So we did that. It was quite an ordeal, but it was worth it for our friend. And once we were done, we went to the nearest grocery store. We picked up some keto approved buns, some zero sugar A&W, and some Greek yogurt, full fat edition. And we went back home. My mom started making the burgers, cheese and lettuce and tomato and the keto buns. It ended up being very good. I couldn't even tell the buns were keto. They did a good job, nature's own, for making them very good. And then we watched a 48 hours called The Birthday Party, where a U.S. attorney guy got kidnapped by some gang members who were threatening his life and took $50,000 out of his bank account. And after he was let go by them, he was able to pin down who was responsible for his kidnapping, and then they were ultimately sent to prison, ranging from a few years to life. And the whole ordeal ultimately made the U.S. attorney live more, which is to say he wasn't worried about making mistakes or things not working out. He was just worried about the fact that he could enjoy life. And he got a dog, he got a new car, he got a woman who eventually became his wife. And he said that whole situation ultimately gave him the bravery to no longer be afraid to really start enjoying the life he was given, which I thought was a really good lesson indeed. Very good lesson. It definitely reminded me when we took the trip to our family friend when they were in the hospital, and how they were strapped to these machines and there were sick people moaning about in the hallways. How it made me realize how important it is to really enjoy the health you have, because you could be any one of those people strapped to those machines, and your time can come and you'd never know, and no one would ever know. And so you should always appreciate the now and never worry about if you're living right. As long as you're living and you're not being a jerk or mean or bad, then life is good. Well, after we're done with our dinner and the 48 hours episode, I decided to take my vitamins, brush my teeth, take out the trash, and go to sleep. I had a really vivid dream last night. I decided to listen to some binaural beat frequencies as I was going to sleep, and maybe that helped. What I remember was extremely crazy. I was like a really fancy mansion version of the house I live in, but it was like multiple stories high, and our pool was out on the side, but it was further down, and it was off on a ridge, and I was looking out at the balcony, and I remember there was a giant flying device of some kind that came off from the very side of my eye, and it kind of slammed into the building. And when that happened, I remember the sound was really loud, and I shook a little, and the water was gyrating from the sound. And then after that, I decided to go down to the first floor to see what happened. And this is really strange, but in the flying vehicle, which was now on the ground next to the building, even though it felt like it hit the building, our current president came out and he basically, I don't remember what he said, but he said something to the likes of, "Don't worry, guys, I'm fine. It's all good." And then I decided to go up into the floor where the pool was, and then I started noticing people were running all around from either side of me. And I looked, and I noticed like it was like the water was growing bigger and bigger, like a big tsunami wave coming at me. And I was like, oh, now I know why people are running. So I turned around and ran, and then I got caught up in the wave because I realized I could not run. So I just stood, and I noticed some people were just like chilling like a lazy pool on the top of the wave. So I decided to do that. And then I got picked up, and then the water just kind of flew around, and then I got washed ashore off the side of the building. This area, or the water just kind of seeped back. It was a very strange experience. It's like the water reacted to the flying device bumping the building and causing a mini earthquake that caused a little tsunami. Crazy stuff. And then I woke up, but that was pretty much what I remember from my dream. When I got up, I immediately got water because I was very dehydrated. I remember waking up a bit early in the morning at like 3:45 a.m. to get some water before going back to sleep and having that dream, and then waking up again around 8 in the morning. And so I decided, okay, I'm gonna pay a visit to the car mechanic. I better look presentable. So I shaved my face, I washed my hair with dandruff shampoo, I combed it, and then I got the paperwork that I got from the diagnosis from the auto shop I went to bring to them. And afterwards, my mom was getting estimates for electrical outlets to be put into the room that we're working on. And the guy stopped by, was giving the estimates, and they left. And then I left to go and get my car checked on. I parked in the auto shop. I went up, I told them, look, this is what's happening. My evap's not good. They said that it's going to have to get smoked and checked for various leaks from all around the different parts of the vehicle to see if there's a serious problem or if it's just a gas cap leak that needs to be reworked. And they say they're going to get back to me. And that could happen any second now, so I'll have to be prepared for that. So then I walked home, and when I arrived, I was really hungry, so I made a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich using the buns from the Nature's Own burger buns, and a cup of coffee. My mom arrived. I made 2 pieces of bacon, 2 eggs with 2 slices of cheese on top for her. She didn't want any buns, just the eggs, bacon, and cheese. She thought it was really good. My mom has been cleaning up our family friend's room all morning because she's preparing for her family friend's arrival and wants the whole room nice and clean, so she'll have a nice place to be when she gets here. And she's even cleaning the sheets and like putting a plastic wrap over the mattress, which is interesting. And so that's cool. And I decided to mix oil and allulose in some peanut butter that just didn't have any oil or sweetener in it, just to see what would happen if I could emulsify it. It didn't really emulsify, but it did taste slightly sweeter, which I thought was good. Helped it taste a bit more like regular peanut butter to me. And I spread that over some keto-friendly bread, and I took some zero sugar jelly and spread that on the other slice, ate that with another cup of coffee. I'd say the allulose I put in the peanut butter helped make the peanut butter overall more tolerable. Not peanut butter, but the jelly more tolerable to eat. The jelly is just kind of funky because it's not sweet enough and it's a little too watery, but I think the fat from the olive oil from the peanut butter that I put in, as well as a bit of the allulose, helped make it a little more enjoyable texture-wise. Overall, though, it's still kind of funky, I'm not gonna lie, but it made it more tolerable. I had a cup of coffee with that. Well, I was listening to a new Simmy and Jimmy video of him and the crew talk about the new Superman movie. They all basically said that they thought it was very derivative of James Gunn's previous work, and they didn't see it as anything super special. they weren't super blown away by it. I haven't seen the new Superman, and I gotta be honest, I don't think I've ever seen any Superman movie from start to finish. I don't know, I've never been a Superman guy. I'm more of a Spider-Man or a Batman kind of guy. I mean, one is like a poor kid who gets superpowers and uses that responsibly to help others, and the other one's a rich guy who basically can do whatever he wants, and he decides to become a hero to avenge the death of his parents. And those just, I think it's because those are just a bit more believable for me over a guy from Alien Planet who is pretty much invincible decides to save the world because he just can. I don't know. It's not as interesting to me. I don't know. Maybe I'll watch it. Maybe I won't. I do like James Gunn's other movies, but I also agree that they do end up starting to blend together a bit if you watch them all in a row. But taken each as its own, they're all fairly enjoyable. But again, I haven't seen this, so I can't really say anything about it, other than what I've heard other people say, but maybe I should check it out for my own opinion. After that, I realized I needed to clean my room because my room is a mess because I needed to move things out of the closet because the closet gives the plumbers access to the pipes underneath the house. So now I have to move all my stuff back into my room's closet, and my room's kind of a cluttery mess right now. So as soon as I'm done recording, I'm going to work on that. Afterwards, well, I suppose I could, I know I keep on saying this, I feel like I don't really do it, but I really need to work on that YouTube video. I use this YouTube channel to help me keep myself accountable with how I eat and if I exercise or not. I also needed to help keep me accountable with whether I actually do my personal work like my YouTube videos and things like that. So, you know, starting today, if I don't do at least 1 hour of YouTube work, then what would be a good way to keep me on track? That's a great question. 10 push-ups? But that seems more like a reward than a punishment because I'm actually using my body to exercise. I don't know. That's the best I could come up with. 10 push-ups if I don't do an hour of work on my YouTube channel. And I'll even film myself doing it. Well, alright. That's pretty much it for now. I will see you in the next video. Tomorrow I go to work from 2 to 6. So that will give me quite a lot of free time to figure out what to do with. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye, everybody.